hier gerade beim Skaters Palace zusammen mit dem Newcomer Sebastian aus Dänemark für ein nettes Interview. Hey Sebastian.
Hello.
Hey.
I'm great.
Great. Thanks for coming.
Of course.
Is this your first time or first tour in Germany?
No, it's my fourth, I think. We had a support show for Clouseau for like 6 or 7 shows. So I'm not sure if you call that a tour. It was a lot of festivals, and then I had 2 of my own headlining tours, and then now this with the Revolver Health.
Okay, so you're pretty familiar with the German market already.
Yeah, I've been to Germany for a lot of times.
Still, I think my viewers from the LEISE Loud blog who are watching right now, they probably don't know your music yet. If you have 3 words for your music, how would you describe it?
3 words?
Yeah.
That's not many words. Singer-songwriter, electronic pop. That would be my 3 words.
Okay. A lot of musicians have like great stories how they, started out playing instruments or how they made their decision to become a musician. What made you become a musician?
I can't brag about having some kind of cool story about it. It just like sort of came to my life, and it was nothing that I decided to do. My dad he played some guitar and also sang in a band, but it's like more cover songs and just for fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that was kind of there was always a guitar around and I could play on that. But I think it started out when some girls at school told me, "Hey, you can actually sing." I was like, "Oh, okay," and then just like more and more, I just got into it, and when I finally started playing, I just started playing my own songs right away. It was always very clear for me that I wasn't gonna do covers and I wasn't gonna play other songs. The whole great thing about music for me was that I could express my own stuff. And when I started when I was 13.
Oh, wow.
And I wrote my first song when I was 13. So, and I've been through a lot of different genres. And
what are your main influences when you say that you've been through a lot of genres?
Well, maybe that's the point. I like a lot of different music, and a lot of different music has influence on my music. And I think a lot of hip-hop and singer-songwriters, Jeff Buckley was a major part of my starting years. Also, a lot of rock and roll, a lot of singer-songwriters, Bon Iver, Justin Timberlake, and Radiohead. Especially Radiohead has had a lot of influence of my way of producing. But I think the biggest part was that I didn't have a complete studio. I only had one microphone and I only had my little laptop studio. And
I read that you started out in your bedroom. Was
yeah,
that
yeah,
then? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And,
Wow.
and that was a huge part of how I developed my sound, because I was sitting in the bedroom and played some guitar and sang. I was like, okay, this needs some more instruments, but I don't have anything else. So I just started out trying to do drums in a different way, and I think that's how the whole electronic side of me became such a big part of my music.
How do you do that now? When you say that you didn't really have much, were you lacking instruments, or for example, just so that we can know what you mean?
I use my vocal a lot for synth and bass and stuff like that, and instead of finding a real trumpet, I try to do. Actually, Jason Derulo just totally ripped me off on a song, and it's really annoying because he's way bigger than me, so people will remember that stuff instead of my stuff. But 3 years ago, I did what he did on his the second single. What is it called? Every time that you get, he has with his mouth, and I did that exact same thing, and I've been doing that a lot. I did a cover of Suit and Tie where I used it, and stuff like that. I just try to use different stuff to get a more original sound, and I think it's really fun to also use a normal guitar to like cut it up and use it for synth as well. And it's difficult to explain.
Yeah.
I think you have to hear it, then you probably understand what I mean.
You first started out in Denmark in 2010, and you became quite a hit in a fairly short period of time. I mean, you supported One Republic and James Morrison, Mads Langer, and you played in big TV shows, but when it came, your next album was supposed to come around, you had suddenly trouble with your voice. Can you tell us what happened?
For a really long time, I didn't really know what was wrong, but I just started to my voice started to get worse and worse, and I tried to go to some doctors, and they were like, we can't really see anything. So yeah, I didn't really have like an idea of what was wrong.
How did you recover?
Well, I went to that doctor my manager found for me, and it turned out that I had a tumor on one of my lips, singing lips. The voice lips.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what it's called in English.
Yeah.
Anyway, but then it got removed, and I had to be silent for like 10 days, and it was really weird because I had the biggest show after those 10 days of silence. I had the biggest show with Clouseau for 8,000 people, which was really drastic, 80-degree turn.
Oh wow! How did you feel when you found out that you actually had a tumor, and what made you, keep on pushing forward, and
I've never seen it as a choice. I have nothing else. Like music is the only thing I have, and the only thing I've worked for. And a lot of people ask me what I would do if I wasn't a musician, and I never know how to answer that because I've never thought about it. I've never thought of anything else than being a musician.
Right. Your self-introduction that I read, you describe yourself as kind of modest, unpretentious, and as a realist. Would you say that your music reflects those character traits as well?
Yeah. A lot of my. A lot of my music, all my songs are written with some kind of message to myself and some kind of things that I reflect about how I behave and how I act in like a bunch of different situations. For instance, I've written a song called "Get You," and it's all about my way of being a musician and why I am a musician, in like just a minor part of being a musician, but it's still a big one, and I think all my songs are like that, but they're kind of hidden, so you can get like a lot of different stuff out of the songs. It doesn't have to be like my thing. I just want people to get whatever they want out of it.
Okay, great. When you write music, what's most important to you?
Without it sounding too like corny, it kind of just had to come by itself. A lot of times when you sit down and you say, I need to write a major hit or something like that, it turns out to be complete crap. And when you just sit down and just fool around and try to do something new, that's where I actually get inspired by the music, and a lot of mistakes also. If I cut something wrong, then it sounds like, well, okay, that's kind of funny, and then that inspires me to do something like that.
Well, speaking of something new, you just released your new EP earlier this month, and it's called "Waiting for Something." What does the title mean to you, and what are you waiting for?
Well, I don't. I'm not waiting for anything anymore. But I had a period in my life, like some month ago, where it was just like I felt that something was missing, but I didn't really know what it was, and I tried to like, I was thinking and trying to like, okay, just figure out what was wrong, and I was kind of depressed about it, and like, this is annoying, and I just felt like going around in circles and just keep on doing the same stuff. To try to get somewhere, but the whole point was I didn't know where that was and where I actually wanted to go. I was thinking too much about writing a single, and I said, okay, fuck that, it's not gonna work. I'm just gonna write something completely different. And then I wrote some Waiting for Something, which I think is one of the best songs I've written in a really long time. And I think that was actually it. I was waiting for that instead of trying to do something that I had in mind. Just do something completely different.
Yeah. It's a great song. I mean, I really like that. And
Cool.
I also like that you have a certain melancholy in that a lot of your music is a little melancholic.
Yeah.
In a way. But then there's also this song called Death Monologue, and that one strikes me as especially dark.
Yeah.
Can you please explain this or tell us the story behind that song?
Actually, Death Monologue has nothing to do with the content of the song, but the song I sat down and tried to I thought about how everybody sees things in like boxes. You have like, you can't really see it for exactly what it is. You don't. God, it's really difficult to explain. It gets like really weird. When you're like a kid, a baby, you see everything like, wow, this is a red thing. I have no idea what it is, but it's cool. I love it. And for me, it just, I wanted to get that feeling back. I wanted to get that like, wow, okay, everything is new. And everything is not like, this is a rock, but this is also a rock, but they're not the same thing. And I know it gets really weird, and I'm not sure if a lot of people can relate to the feeling, but I think it could be cool, and that's the whole point of Death Monologue, is to like erase all like ideas of what things and humans and everything is, and just see everything like for the first time. I think that was the whole point, just like get rid of everything you know and see everything for the first time. And I'm not sure if it's a good idea or a bad idea, but I just...
Sounds pretty good to me.
I thought it was a fun idea, and a lot of my songs are like that. It's some kind of weird thought that I have, and I try to write it down, and sometimes it works, and sometimes people gets it, but other times, I'm not really sure.
Right.
But title may be a bit misguiding, but I think the whole point was like... death of everything and the rebirth of everything.
Beautiful. That's great. Well, let's switch topics a little bit.
Yeah.
You are on tour with Revolverhead right now. What has been the most enjoyable part or the most annoying part so far about being on tour?
The most enjoyable part are the guys, the band. They are so great, and I've been on a bunch of different support tours, but they have been like so great, and they've just been very welcoming, and I think it also has something to do with that when they started planning their tour and the label came and said, hey, we need some kind of support, they were like, hey, let's bring Sebastian in, which I think just it wasn't forced upon them. It's not something that manager agreed upon or something like that. So it feels like they really want me to be there, and that's just really cool. And the fans are really great. They have wonderful fans, and it feels like they like me as a support act, which is also pretty cool. It's kind of annoying when you are the support and people don't like it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. What's been your most memorable moment during this tour?
I think the first feature, which is kind of a surprise, but this won't be released today. So Johannes, he asked me if I wanted to like feature them on their show, and he was, I think he meant it as a joke, because I'm singing in English and they're singing in German. I really didn't have the time to learn a full German song. But they have one song that I really love, it's Worte, die bleiben. And then we just did a feature on that. I think the first time we did that was in Munich, and it was a really big show, and it was really great. And it felt like really, it was just really cool.
Well, you also know that Revolverhead, they invite first-time concert goers up on stage during their show.
Yeah.
What was your first concert?
Oh,
Do you remember it?
Well, I think my first show was with my dad and mom at some like Blues Brothers show in some kind of festival. I remember finding $200. That was really cool.
Yeah.
But I can't recall anything from the show, the concert. But I think that was one of the first like real concerts. But if it had to be something I attended to myself, I went to see Frank Ocean, and that was one of my first tickets. Actually, I bought myself.
Great. Well, it's my last question now. You've done plenty of interviews now, a lot of interviews. Is there any question that you think you would really like to answer but nobody has asked you before?
It's more often I think that it's a weird question than I wanted to have a different. I think a lot of people like I get like the question what's your 3 favorite songs, and stuff like that.
It's so difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, and I don't think it has anything to do with music, and I think it has nothing to do with me. And I think if you want to interview with me, I think it's weird to ask like, okay, what's your favorite band? I like when it involves some kind of personal stuff. I think it's great when you have the chance to like explain your album and explain stuff that reflects you, and not just the basic stuff that you get asked about a lot. Without like dissing any interviewers, because I can totally get why they do it. But yeah, sometimes it just feels like a bit standard and a bit basic, and that it actually could be asked to anybody and has nothing to do with my music. I think it's as a reader, I would think it was kind of boring. Okay, here's Sebastian and his favorite band is Radiohead or whatever. So it's okay, that tells me nothing about him.
Well, I hope you enjoyed our questions, so didn't
our
questions were too standard.
No.
Well, yeah, that brings us to the end, and thank you so much for taking your time.
Of course.
I'm really looking forward for your show tonight.
Yeah, great. You're gonna see it?
Yeah, I'm gonna see it. Wow.
Cool.
Well, I have to switch back to German. Und wir sehen uns beim nächsten Mal. Danke, dass ihr zugeguckt habt. Und ja, genießt noch den schönen Tag. Ciao.